uh, the taking over for Aaron Rodgers, trading up to get him in the first round and such, getting the, if you want to call it a contract extension, getting a little bit of the money, how much pressure should be on Jordan Love. I thought it was an interesting question earlier today. Some people agree, some people don't, depending on what your thought process is. Some say, hey, look, just leave him alone. Leave him alone. Let him kind of fall into the position himself and land the way he's most comfortable. Others say no. I mean, there's a tradition of success and winning in Green Bay, and that tradition and success of winning is not going to stop because you've got a first-year guy under center. So, depending on what side of the fence you fall on, I guess that's your prerogative. I still expect 7, 8, maybe 9 wins. Ben's a little bit more optimistic with 11 wins, but regardless, I think that there's a level of pressure there that just it naturally comes with the territory, for lack of a better term. It just does. So if you want to chime in, feel free, give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. If you got something to say, bring it. Brewers winning right now. Hauser's thrown 4 scoreless inning. Brewers are up 2-0 down at American Family Field. And like I said, coming up here in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk with our own Mike Clemens. Tom says, hey, guys, why are we talking so much about Jordan Love? If Jordan Love is just average and the defense is good at all, this team's going to win at least 8 to 9 games. Shouldn't we talk about the pressure being more on Joe Barry? Tom, we've talked about that, yes. But the only reason we brought this up with Jordan Love was because there was the discussion earlier today about the quarterbacks in the NFC that have the most pressure on them. And Dan Orlovsky of ESPN on Get Up this morning said the most pressure in the NFC is on Jordan Love, taking over for the legend. And as they said, running the legend out of town, getting the contract extension, never has taken a snap, but they traded up to get him and such. So he said he has the most pressure. Now, I think it's Dak Prescott, and overwhelmingly, I'd look at Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, another guy that when he got paid, I thought they fell on their head. Some of these quarterbacks they're paying are not that good. You're paying on some of the glimpses of potential you've seen, but the question always is, can they bring you back in big moments, and can they win in big moments? Like Justin Herbert's going to get paid. We know that on what potential he has. But Justin Herbert hasn't won anything. Joe Burrow is going to get paid. He took a bad organization to a Super Bowl. He's going to get paid. I mean, he's shown leadership. He's won a national title. He's been there, done that. He's gone toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, no problem, and fared better than a guy like Josh Allen. So Joe Burrow is going to get paid. Justin Herbert, I wouldn't pay him as much as Joe Burrow, I'll tell you that. He's going to get paid, but I wouldn't be breaking the bank for Justin Herbert. Some people will blame it on coaching. Okay, I can go along with that. I can look at the coaching staff and say, yeah, certainly they could be better. But if I had to pay a quarterback right now in the National Football League, if I had to pay some serious cash out, I would probably go Patrick Mahomes first, maybe Joe Burrow second. I know others would disagree if you're a Josh Allen fan or Jalen Hurts, certainly. Jalen Hurts has taken the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl. You could maybe go in that direction. Ben, if you're going to pay one or the other, Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts, who are you paying?
Probably Joe Burrow.
I would
Even
too.
though, I mean, when you look at their careers, how different are they? Joe Burrow missed a year with his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts has missed games here and there with various ailments.
Mm-hmm.
Both have gone to a Super Bowl. I think both are ascending. Probably Burrow, but I think it's a 1A, 1B situation.
Yeah. There's, when you start to look, I mean, I don't know another quarterback. If I'm, the old adage is, if you're going to start a franchise today, okay. If I'm going to start a franchise today, I think it's Patrick Mahomes hands down. Joe Burrow would probably be number 2. After that, Jalen Hurts, maybe. Josh Allen, maybe. They battle for number 3. Who else would you go with? Trevor Lawrence showed a lot of moxie and his rookie season was just trash because of the whole Urban Meyer experience. I don't know what to make of Trevor Lawrence at this point, but Trevor Lawrence showed a lot of moxie down the stretch. Would you go Jalen? Would you go Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence? And, if you're going to go with your right here, right now, top 5 quarterbacks you'd start a franchise with, Mahomes, Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. Would you go in that direction? Would you go Tua, Josh Allen? Like we said, it's going to be a proving year for Mac Jones. This is coming down to the wire for him. I'm not going with Dak. Justin Fields. Justin Fields has a lot to prove. I know that they feel in Chicago like he's the next coming, but he's probably the best quarterback they've seen since McMahon. And McMahon brought energy and a few accurate throws and a lot of moxie and a lot of toughness and heart. But he's probably in that ilk. But who would be the next guy you'd think about, starting a franchise with? Bryce Young hasn't proven anything yet.
Caleb Williams.
Well, next year. Caleb Williams hasn't been in the NFL yet, but maybe next year. But yeah, think about that. 877-867-1670 out of the email inbox, which is thebillmichaels@gmail.com. thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Rick says, hey guys, if I'm going to start a franchise, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. He has a lot of the attributes as Aaron Rodgers, the Joe Cool aspect, yet he is still humble. The way Rodgers was early on in his career, I think he's going to be better than Rodgers. I would go with Joe Burrow, then Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes gets it done with physicality and heart. He reminds me a lot of Favre, but a more accurate passer. No, Patrick Mahomes has a lot of those qualities. Put it this way. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has been there, done that, and won. I get what you're saying. I understand it. But if I had to sit, and like I said, if I had to sit here today and say, this is what I'm going to start my franchise with, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. That's just what I would do. Kelsey says, if you're going to get more weapons for Jordan Love, where would you put Jordan Love in that list? Well, we don't know what the weapons he has now are. Christian Watson's got speed. Jaden Reed can be a good asset. I don't know what Romeo Doubs and Samari Toure are gonna give you. And then obviously when you went out and you picked up not one but 2 tight ends, both of which are pass catchers and who you believe can be assets to your ball club. With Tucker Kraft and Musgrave, both of those guys, you just don't know what you have in them just yet. So I don't, when you say go out and get, are you talking about free agent weapons? Who's this one? This is from Grant. Grant says, hey, Bill, how much better do you think Lamar Jackson's going to be this year with OBJ? That's a great question because that allows him to be a passer. And one of the biggest arguments for Lamar Jackson has been he's a run-first quarterback. And a lot of these quarterbacks that are run-first or running quarterbacks, athletic quarterbacks, they tend to tuck the ball, but he hasn't had a plethora of guys to throw to. They did try to upgrade the wide receiver position for the Baltimore Ravens. So they're trying to keep him in the pocket. Otherwise he's going to end up getting killed and he's going to end up, injuring that knee even worse. And, ultimately he's not going to be around to earn, I'll say, not collect, but earn the money that he is getting paid in Baltimore. So that's a great question. How much better he'll be I've never been a big fan of him as a pocket passer. He's not the most accurate cat out there, at least hasn't been in the past. But a lot of the times he's been throwing on the run. So if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt in that aspect, you can say you're, via movement, you're not setting your feet. You're not, proper protection and proper passing, form. When you're on the run, it's going to be a little off target. You're expecting guys to go and make plays, and he hasn't had those guys around him. So maybe keeping him in the pocket, maybe giving him some better weapons to throw to, you would assume then that his completion percentage and accuracy would then go up. Maybe he becomes a better quarterback because of it. But, I mean, the first thing he needs to do is get an offensive line that's going to protect him so he doesn't have to get outside and run so often. 877-867-1670. When we come back, Mike Clemens is going to join us, and we'll talk to Mike about the OTAs and about the Packers and about getting the NFL draft and such. So all of that stuff coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Go to paysbig.com. That is paysbig.com. Whether it's making the big money, going down there, say, to a Dream Dance, down to the steakhouse and getting something good to eat. The 360 bar is fantastic. You've got bingo, which is back. You got a lot of events down there, or just an overnight stay overlooking the city of Milwaukee and enjoying the hotel. Potawatomi Hotel and Casino goes to paysbig.com. That is paysbig.com. Mike Clemens joins us next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The roar of racing is back at Road America. IndyCar, Xfinity Series, Superbike, Vintage. The 640 acres of land in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin will shake with the roar of engines. Get your tickets now and secure your spot. Camping sites and corporate hospitality space is available as well. Get your 2023 season pass, individual race tickets, and all the information at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley are thrilled with their brand new Pella patio door.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright. It's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing, and it makes it comfortable for the life we live, which is an active one.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside.
For the first time, our whole house actually feels like the same climate.
No drafts. Don't have to have any of those extendo cornhole bags anymore. It's a game changer.
I'm Gina Della from Pella, and if you order today, get 0% interest for up to 48 months. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, we strive to always give the best possible quality of service. Our experts provide an in-home consultation where they'll listen to your needs and help choose the perfect products for your home, which can be customized to fit any decor. The installation is completed in as little as a day with no mess and no hassle, leaving nothing but perfect results. Order today and get 0% interest for up to 48 months at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Seconds.
It has been a great week, not only for the Packers, but the greater Green Bay community, and actually really the entire state of Wisconsin, to be selected to host the 2025 draft right here in Green Bay and Wisconsin. And we greatly appreciate the work of so many people within the organization.
There's those sounds. That's the NFL draft. It's coming to Green Bay. 2025 is when it's all going to culminate. And a lot of people excited about it. I'm excited about it. I mean, we should be. You know, a lot of good stuff coming to the area. So excited about eventually the Green Bay Packers hosting the 2025 NFL draft. Joining us now on the hotline, our guy Mike Clemens. Michael, how you doing, pal?
Good. Yeah, the Packers had a 1-hour press conference today that we covered in one of those suite areas up by the atrium. And, you know, they've been working on this. There's a guy named Brad Toll that's in the Visitors Bureau that said the day that the league announced, you know what, after 40 years, we're pulling out a Radio City Music Hall in downtown New York, and we're going to take this out on the road, he started Googling, all right, well, what are the requirements? Well, how much would it take? How many hotels would he have to make? And then he called over to the Packers office to, you know, some of the vice presidents there and things. And they said, you know, we were thinking about that too, man. Maybe we could bring this to Lambeau Field. So they've been working for years on this. And you know Aaron Popke, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Aaron has been with a team of a couple other people finding out that he has gone out to these drafts and scouted them. You know, people from the Packers, 6 out of the last 7 or 8 years, like to Cleveland and to Dallas and places where they've held them, Chicago, just to watch and see, all right, where would the stage go? Where would the bands go? You know, where do people park? Where do people stay? Where do you put the players? All the kinds of concerns you have to put on this show. And really, it's a big TV show. And so that's part of the reason they're sitting here today now, that they're going to get this thing in a couple of years in Green Bay.
So where are they going to put all of these fans, Mike? They talk about all this different stuff coming to Green Bay. So where are they going to put everybody, do you think?
Yeah, right. I mean, because fans have asked, Packer fans have asked, hey, we're so proud of Lambeau Field. It's one of the best stadiums in the National Football League in the world. Why can't we host a Super Bowl? And like we talked about yesterday, and I confirmed this with Mark today, the league asks for 100,000 hotel and motel rooms within a 50-mile radius of the stadium where the Super Bowl game is going to be played. Green Bay and the Fox River Valley, for 50 miles, that afford $100 million, like 6 times the amount of a regular season game, that this could have a positive economic impact for not only Green Bay, but for the state of Wisconsin. And it's like, well, great. So, you know, we asked Murphy, where are you going to put all these people?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, obviously this is going to be a different draft than, say, the draft in Chicago or Kansas City. One of probably the biggest issue I think that people have thought about is hotel rooms. But, you know, I think with a couple things, people are going to drive a little farther, stay a little farther than they would in bigger cities. But, you know, for events like the Ryder Cup, I think we've shown that we can do that across the state. And we've had some discussions. I don't know where they are with assuming the ice has melted, Lake Michigan, maybe having some cruise ships. And so we've had some discussions also with Amtrak about the possibility of running train service up from Milwaukee. So we're working across the state and off a number of different things to make it as easy as possible for fans to come here.
I keep thinking, Mike, about the stage inside Lambeau or at Titletown with Lambeau in the background, or is it going to be inside at the Resch Center? I mean, so how is this all going to come about?
Yeah, I thought that they would put it inside, the big atrium. That was kind of a vision of Bob Harlan 20 years ago when they put on all those additions in the stadium, but it's not big enough. And we're across the street from Lambeau Field, right across from Oneida. It's where the players and the coaches walk by every day when they go into the Hudson Center or onto the different various fields for practice, is that new Resch Expo Center. They tore down the old one, put a whole new big one up in the Brown County Arena and everything. But the Packers were asked that. Gabrielle Dow, she's the vice president of marketing for the team. She's really been working on this stuff a lot, and she was asked, where do you think they're going to have that big NFL stage where Goodell will be there, who just got an extension, by the way, and he'll be there to shake the hands and hand the jersey to these first-round picks, and here's what she said.
Yes, we have given the NFL suggestions. So, whether it's inside or outside the stadium, it's really their decision. So, we would love to probably have it inside of Lambeau Field and utilize that area. But again, it's really up to the NFL. The stage is about 100 yards across. Yeah. Yes, Dallas. And so they used half of the building in Dallas basically for the stage because of the backdrop.
As of right now, Mike, the way I would look at it is April 2025. It should be Thursday night, April 24th, most likely would be the draft, correct?
Well, yeah, the when depends on things, right? Maybe because of the weather. When she just talked about the stage, those stages can sometimes be as long or as wide as 100 yards. So that means you would put the stage, let's say, along the visitor's sideline inside Lambeau, right? Instead of the end zone, you'd put it along the visitor's sideline. So you'd be looking at half the stadium, maybe toward the press box side or the home field side. So you could have people on the ground, on the field, the actual field, and then up in the stands. And who knows, maybe they would utilize some of the suites. I don't know if they're thinking about that or whatever, but that's where a lot of the observers could be, watching this stuff take place. The next thing is, it's a Thursday night in April, and every draft weekend. See, I spend the draft here in Green Bay because we want to talk to the team GM, the scouts, the coaches, as the picks come in, and the team also connects us on a teleconference with Packer players that they had just drafted. There's no reason for me to be at Kansas City or back in the day at Radio City Music Hall. Mm-hmm. It's just a TV show there. So today the Packers were asked, Gabriel and Mark were asked about, what about the weather and what date do you think the league is going to come to Green Bay and set up the NFL draft?
3 different dates the league has suggested. So we put all of them on hold with all our partners. And I'm assuming they're going to choose the very last week.
So Peter O'Reilly from the league, he and I were talking. I said, Peter, what if it snows? He goes, that would be great.
Well, I don't know if it'd be great. It certainly would be scenic if it's one of those snows like the snow globe we've seen. But if it's one of those cold, blowy, windy, blustery days, nobody's going to want that. On to football chatter, though. There is at least a little bit of a buzz in the locker room about the Packers hosting the 2025 NFL draft, right?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty frank answer from your new QB1, Jordan Love, and he was asked his reaction to the NFL draft coming to Titletown to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I think that would be pretty cool to get everybody out here. I'm not sure how many hotels we'll have for everybody out here, but it'll be nice to be hosting the draft.
Hey, Mike, real quick before we go to break, I know this is something that Mark Murphy's been working on a long time. This will be like kind of the final feather in the cap before the swan song, and he walks away as the team president. And do you get the sense that, you know, he's done everything business-wise, expansion-wise, Titletown-wise, and now can't bring a Super Bowl to Green Bay, but at least he brought the NFL draft to Green Bay, and he was on the receiving end of picking up a Lombardi trophy as well. Obviously, you'd like more, but he's accomplished about everything he could possibly accomplish in Green Bay in his tenure, right?
Yeah, there was the passing of the torch, a baton handoff between Bob Harlan, who, you know, years later, Bob Harlan talked about stuff he had to do, or they were going to have to start taking out loans to keep up with the league. As much money as these guys get from revenue sharing and from the networks bidding, and now the streaming, you know, revenues they're getting, still they're all kind of competing and fighting with each other. And so Harlan had to make those improvements to the stadium, which now happens in all sports for sponsorships, for, you know, luxury seating, suites, that kind of thing. And the next step then was Murphy to come in and now start saying, what else can we add to the zip code? You know, people want to be close. They want to build their restaurants, their offices, their condo apartments and stuff near Lambeau Field. And so right now, I mean, there's these huge cranes overhead when you walk in. They're dropping in the new giant scoreboard. They're improving the coaching and the GM offices. They got a new indoor, you know, practice facility, and of course, you know, Ben Kenny's favorite, the underground parking for the players.
They got to put the stage down there, Mike. Come on.
They could put it in
brand new.
the underground parking.
There's a parking garage.
Look to show that off. But Bill and Ben, like 3 blocks away, there's like 3 or 4 more. I don't know if they're condos or hotels that are 4 or 5 stories up. I mean, it's just, the building here is unbelievable, and Green Bay is changing, you know, and growing that way. And then when you add something as big as an NFL draft, you know, what did he say? Like 50 million viewers over the course of 3 days. You just do all that publicity for the you know, the heritage of the stadium and Lombardi's Packers, what they did here, and then just Green Bay is a place to, you know, work and live and attract new businesses. So that's the big picture. And it's not just Murphy, though. Really, you get the sense of how competitive people in Green Bay are to want this stuff to happen in their town.
Mike, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. Mike Clemens is joining us, and when we come back, going to start to talk a little bit more about you know, the OTAs, the team, the direction things are going, life after Aaron Rodgers, as it's now underway in Green Bay. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Zoom in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The first couple installs have a lot of volume to them as well. So it's not necessarily the easiest on our guys, but you do get a true sense of kind of where they're at. These guys think on their feet. And you can see with some of the younger groups, there was a little indecision in terms of getting in and out of the huddle. And that's part of the process.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Those are the words of Matt LaFleur as the Packers OTAs are underway. This portion of the program. And Mike Clemens, brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, and a terrific place. You just go, relax, get ready for the game, after the game, that kind of thing. They're up in Green Bay, obviously, in the Bay Family Restaurant featuring home-style cooking 7 days a week. That's the Bay Motel, Green Bay, South Military Avenue. Call them 920-494-3441, 920-494-3441, or simply go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. Bring Mike Clemens back in. And so, Mike, all the eyes, I was talking earlier today during the show, because ESPN and Dan Orlovsky says the most pressure on any NFC quarterback this year is on Jordan Love, because they traded up to get him. It started the clock ticking on Aaron Rodgers. They ran him out of town. He's gotten a contract extension. So he's got to prove himself. So it's all the eyes are now on Jordan Love.
Yeah, Bill, you asked me when last I was on the show a great question about, where's the pressure in Green Bay? Is it on Jordan's shoulders? Is it on Gutekunst, for what he's put together for roster? And I put it on Matt LaFleur. But I'll tell you what, if you ask me, the pressure's on the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. They're the one that made the big trade. They're the one that are footing the bill now for Aaron Rodgers. The Packers got so much of that money off of their books. That's a guy and he's in New York. There's a different feel here now, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but there's this. First of all, when you walk in this place, as you know, there's always a buzz here. There's always kind of all right, you got to be on your toes. It's kind of a military feel. It's the Ghost of Lombardi. I don't know what it is. It's always got that, but it is different. And the fact that Aaron's moved on, there's just more of an, I don't know, equality or something. Because like when you see Jordan walking around in the locker room, guys are coming up to him left and right, and slapping hands and laughing and joking, and they're talking and pointing over things. They're just, the 800-pound elephant's out of the room, basically, and there's a.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come on, let's take it outside. Sunny, 75, maybe a 20-mile-an-hour wind, and we got to see a whole bunch of 11-on-11. And it starts off with, the defense is flying around. Keyshawn Nixon is back there. Darnell Savage is making plays. Kenny Clark is over Sean Ryan, the draft pick from last year that got suspended for substance abuse. He's snapping a lot. They're working him in at center. And then you see them release number 9. Here's Christian Watson. Okay, here's the big guy with the speed on a go route downfield. And you think, oh, here it goes. And then Jordan steps and chucks it 45, 50 yards in the air, except it's triple coverage. Like Keyshawn and Darnell Savage, they know what's going on. He was like in triple coverage. And these guys are all jumping up. They deflect the ball. Like, this is going to be a long day for the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So Jordan Love was asked, this was a real fast pace, the way they were throwing the plays for you at this, early practice and OTAs. And it looked a little chaotic at times, right?
It is chaotic right now. It's our second practice. Everyone has a lot of energy out there, a lot of juice. Everyone's trying to make plays. Also not being in pads, like going live without pads up front, it's a little chaotic. But I think everybody's doing a good job. We were competing out there today. There was a couple plays where, people ended up on the ground, things like that. It got a little shippy. You don't want to see that, but it's good to see everybody competing with that.
Now, Mike, we know that, Aaron Rodgers brought a certain level of intensity, of knowledge, obviously, of you had to perform at a certain level for him to kind of respect you. So, you would assume they're going to be, as much as they're going to be soft with Jordan Love and the specter of Aaron Rodgers and all that intensity's gone, they're also going to be very hard on him to make sure that, everybody knows they made the right move, that they traded up to get him, that this is the guy that's going to lead them into the next, hopefully, decade, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly, because that's the feeling that you had at yesterday's practice. Like, man, they are throwing the kitchen sink at this guy right now. And so we asked Love, do you get the sense, you understand that LaFleur and your offensive coordinator, Adam Stenovich, and your quarterback coach, Tom Clements, it's going to be, tough love on you right now?
Yeah, no, I think it starts up top. I think, Matt does a great job. He demands a lot out of me. He's done that since I've been here. In the quarterback room, Tom and Steno, they both demand a lot out of the quarterback position and me and myself. But I think, the vets that have been here, been able to see it. They do a great job just holding me to that standard as well. If something's not going perfect, they pat me on the back, tell me to kind of pick it up, and things like that. So they do a great job.
As much as we're going to talk about Jordan Love, it's also the young guys that are now around him and all the weapons, which bringing in Jaden Reed and Watson and everybody else and the new tight ends and such. I mean, everybody's going to have to pick it up to be successful.
Romeo Dobbs made a nice catch over the middle. As the practice went on, the chemistry and the timing got better with each rep in practice. And then they kind of got in the red zone. And I don't think they were making it any easier on the offense. I just think that the offense was starting to find it after some long periods of 11-on-11, team scrimmage. And then to me, Bill, besides Aaron Jones, with some nice runs out of the backfield, I started looking at the receivers, and you had Tavian Wicks, the kid that they picked in was 7th round out of Virginia. He's number 13. He's big, like 6'1". He made some nice catches over the middle. And then Jaden Reed, he's wearing number 11. Now, that's the guy that they took, at the end of the second round. He's got the Packers clocked him. He had a slower time at the combine, but the Packers clocked him at 4.37, and he wears number 11. He looked like he belonged, and we asked him about how much of the Packers running you in the slot.
Yeah, a lot of slot and a little bit of outside. So, it's kind of similar to college, but I'm more primarily in the slot now. So it's a little different. I like working in space, and I think I'll fit in, in NFL, playing in the slot and everything, and also rotating outside. So.
Defensively speaking, Mike, as much as we talk about the offense, they're going to have to support the offense via the defense. And the secondary, it was good to see Stokes obviously out there, but the other guy that had a down season last year that's going to have a bounce back season is Darnell Savage Jr.
Yeah, and I guess they're not bringing back Adrian Amos mostly over money and maybe age, although I think that Smash is still a pretty good football player. They drafted one safety. But Darnell Savage, man, this was a former first-round pick too, and was a player at Maryland who played all over the field and had a good rookie season as well. And then last year, we know that he just gave up on a tackle on Josh Allen, but he's also seemed to be lost in coverage. And I thought he was very frank with us yesterday about by the time that they got to week 12 and they were going to go into Philly and take on the best team in the NFC, the Eagles, why they benched him for Rudy Ford. And he says, between whatever Joe Barry and Jerry Gray, the secondary coach, were dialing up, he didn't like his assignments.
What we do as a defense, what I was asked to do then versus what I'm asked to do now. So kind of got to look at bits and pieces of it. But really the biggest thing you just go back to is just the aura or the vibe that you feel when you're in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely been an experience for me. Just like I said, I feel like I learned so much about myself, stuff that I never even thought about because I get frustrated. If I'm not out there changing the game, I get frustrated, and that's one thing that I've had to learn. They tell me you got to do your job before you can, go out there and make plays. But me, I feel like I can make every play. So I'm out there thinking, and I'm worried about this and worried about that instead of just going to do it because I can. So, it's just kind of a silent confidence.
As I was saying earlier, Mike, you get Savage back, and then the most, one of the most welcome sights was seeing Stokes in the field working out yesterday too.
At least on the field, because, he went down that same game in Detroit on Ford Field where Sean Gary suffers the torn ACL. Eric Stokes, another one of your top picks with the great speed on the corner. He ended up having, it was listed as a knee and ankle injury, but he told us actually he had knee and foot surgery in late November. And if that's what he's dealing with, how can he be ready for training camp in July?
It depends on how I feel. And it depends on how I go. Hey, if I'm ready, I'm ready. If I'm not, it's pretty much no rush.
So you had the Liz Frank in the foot. What'd you do to your ankle?
I didn't do anything to my ankle. It was just pretty much the whole foot the whole time. It was just a Liz Frank. I had a Liz Frank and a meniscus in my knee.
Is there one of those right now that's ahead of the other in terms of the recovery?
The meniscus was easy. Bro, if it was just the meniscus, I would have been back probably before the season. Okay. Who really knows? But it just really pretty much it's the foot. The foot will take time. The foot will take. It will take a little minute.
You got to go slow with those things too, Mike. Those things, when you start putting screws in the feet, remember it was a couple of different draft choices that Ron Wolf had, that Freddie Vincent had pins in the feet and the Liz Frank, and it just was, if you don't treat them right, they don't recover right.
All right, sorry about that. Some connection stuff with Bill out there, but yeah,
I know what he's saying, and as a matter of fact, I've talked about this moment toward the end of the season when I'm in the locker room, and there's Eric Stokes, one of the fastest guys on the team, and he's there at his locker in a wheelchair, and so we asked him, what can you physically do now that you couldn't? Last time that we saw you around the facility in December and January.
I can walk. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't walk until about mid-January, so that's something new. But getting back to running, getting back to moving around, getting back to break, cutting, and all this stuff. Finally put on cleats for the first time since my injury last week. So it's little small little goals that I got in mind that I keep approaching and keep checking off.
Yeah, Mike, it's tough because, everyone talks about how 8 first-round picks right on Joe Barry's defense, but Stokes is one of them with Gary, where the big question is what are they actually going to be able to do? But it seems to be good news, good updates that came yesterday.
Saw Rashawn running some light sprints along the sideline, so, that's where he's at. But as for Eric Stokes, he's always such a, outgoing, goofing around, having fun kind of guy. How do you, we asked him, how do you keep your spirits up while you're in a wheelchair? And how much hardware did they leave in your right leg?
Oh, nah, I just had a little couple screws, a couple of plates in there, it is what it is. But my biggest thing is I'm gonna keep my same attitude no matter what. Like the guys know me. I'm a goofy, I'm a joke ball, I'm a laugher, I'm a smile. Like that's me. Like, I'm not finna change it, I'm not finna do any of that. So even through my downfall, I wasn't finna show nobody like, hey man, it is what it is.
Mike, I got to ask before we hit break, what does the initial eye test say about Lucas Van Ness?
Fast, really fast. As a matter of fact,
Hercules, is that a comparable word?
No, Danny Etling was taking a snap, and I think he was back there for about 2.5 seconds, and Van Ness beat his outside tackle, I don't know if it was Caleb Jones, so badly that he just kind of he would have killed him, and he looked at the coaches and they're like, yeah, fine, yeah, we understand, it's a sack. Thank you for letting the kid complete the play and throw the pass. Yeah, he's extremely fast, he's big, and he's a handful.
Awesome. Sweet. All right. Well, let's do this. We'll step away. We'll get Bill back on the horn, and we will close it out next. Mike Clemens with us. It's the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright. It's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
So Peter O'Reilly from the league, he and I were talking. I said, Peter, what if it snows? He goes, that would be great.
Words of Mark Murphy talking about the NFL draft coming to Lambeau Field. And Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline, final segment of the program. So, Mike, one of the other things that was discussed in the owners' meeting was this whole thing about flexing games to Thursday nights. And it's something that doesn't sit well with the players. It doesn't sit well with the fans. We all love Thursday night football. We can't get enough of it, but not a big fan of flexing the game to Thursday night.
No, football players, their coaches, a lot of the vendors, they don't, they're not crazy about Thursday nights. Particularly the guys that play the sport. Nobody likes it. No player likes a Thursday night game because of the turnaround time to get their bodies ready to play. And, Mark Murphy for the Packers and the Morrow family from the Giants, they stood up. It's like, hey, we're sorry that Amazon's not happy that they got a lot of dog games last year. Two losing teams, or even worse, a really good team against a losing team, and it's a blowout by halftime. And Murphy talked about why he dissented, why he was against flexing NFL games from Sunday nights to Thursday nights, with the schedule and the season already underway.
It's really, especially for us and our fan base, so many of our fans, travel in, spend the weekend. It's not like, in the bigger cities where everybody, lives and doesn't have to stay in a hotel. I just thought it was really, I think John Mara used the term abusive, but just really unfair to our fans to have to make the decisions and, think our players, and when you have when your schedule's set, you set out the whole season, and this is what our schedule and practice schedule look like, and then making changes is disruptive, and from the player's perspective, the short weeks are physically very demanding, and the more of those you have, I think that causes issues.
The other one, Mike, was the fair catch rule, and we all know that the NFL has used kickoffs as a way to say they're going to worry about player safety, but yet they want to flex games to Thursday night, which I still don't understand. But that being said, Keyshawn Nixon, I thought, had a great, when all this came out that they were going to put these fair catches like college rules in for kickoffs, he said, I don't know what a fair catch is, which was fantastic, and it made me smile. But how is this, do you think, going to affect strategy-wise special teams?
Matt LaFleur wants to play football, and he wants to have kickoffs and guys return it and, try and take it to the house because he's got a guy like Keyshawn Nixon. So you could hear him biting his tongue when he was react to this fair catch on a kickoff return concept.
I think time will tell. I know it's been, part of the college game, certainly always looking for ways to make our players more safe. And apparently the injury data suggests that this was a necessity. I don't really want to give my personal thoughts on the rule, but we'll adjust.
Mike, good stuff. So what was your takeaway of the OTAs now that all the Packers have reconvened and it's life after Rodgers, I guess is the best way to put it.
Is that the coaching staff has got their hands full. They've got a very young team, a lot of fast kids that are out there, but man, it's weird. It's like I moved to a different city. It's really weird, especially for those of us who've been covering 30 years of future Hall of Fame quarterbacks out there in the field at some point.
Mike, great stuff as always, bud. Look forward to the rest of the reports on the OTAs, and we will touch base again soon, okay?
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate it, pal. There you go. That's our own Mike Clemens. Good stuff. Maybe tomorrow we'll get, everything back. Maybe Spectrum will fix things and things will be better and we'll be able to kind of do our job unfettered, so to speak. So knock on wood, cross your fingers. We paid the bill. We know that. So until we talk again tomorrow, that's going to do it. Always great to talk to Mike. Thanks to everybody for joining the program. Certainly appreciate it. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Spirited again tomorrow as well.